Mr. Mayor, we are ready to begin.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. PIO, and let's get this meeting started. Good evening, community members, council members, and staff. Before I begin with anything, actually, I'll wait. Welcome to an online closed session meeting of the Burbank City Council on Tuesday, April 13th, 2021. The public will not be able to physically attend today's meeting in lieu of in-person attendance. Our phone lines are now open for public comment on closed session items only. Council members, as mayor, for the good of the order, I'm going to limit public comment period for 20 minutes. If the city clerk advises me that we have 15 to 20 callers already in queue on the line waiting to participate, they will be given 1 minute for a total of 20 minutes during the public comment period. If we have less than 15 council members, for the good of the order, the lines will remain open, but I will give each speaker 1 minute and we will stop at exactly the 20-minute mark. And the reason why, council members, we have a big agenda and we got to do the business of the city, but I also want to let as many people as possible participate. So, Madam City Attorney, will you please, and for members of the public that are just tuning in, the phone number to call is 818-238-3335. Again, the number is 818-238-3335. Madam City Attorney, will you please state the closed session items? Thank you, and good evening and welcome, Madam City Attorney.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayors, members of the council, as well as members of the public and staff. Council has 3 items this evening: labor negotiations pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6, City Negotiator Management Services Director concerning Burbank Police Officer Association and Burbank Firefighters Chief Officer Unit. The second item is a workers' compensation case, Einfeld versus City of Burbank, existing litigation under 54956.9 subsection D1 under the Government Code. And there is a second existing litigation case, City of Burbank versus Barfly Inc., et al., violation of Burbank Municipal Code and abatement of nuisance. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. Madam City Clerk, do we have any callers on the line for public comment period?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have currently 11 callers are in queue.
Okay. Then we'll give everybody 1 minute. Once we get to 20 callers, then we will limit it and stop right at 20 minutes. Please have a member of your staff advise all callers after the 15th caller.
Thank you. We will do, and I will be timing the callers for 1 minute. So I will raise my hand so you'll see when the minute is up.
Great. Thank you very much. Let's bring on the first caller. Thank you. And thank you, council members.
Our first caller is Jason Lefkowitz. Jason, you're live with council.
Good evening. Welcome.
Good day, everybody. I will speak as fast as possibly. Everything we are doing to small businesses right now, especially Tin Horn Flats, is completely unconstitutional. You guys are supposed to provide us scientific data to prove that masks work, to prove that lockdowns work, when all the data that I have seen that has been accumulated by scientists all over the world prove otherwise. Masks are ineffective, and lockdowns do not work. All they are doing is crippling small businesses. Governor Newsom sent $1 billion over to China for masks we have never received, and now we're using taxpayer dollars to put a wall around a small business. What's going to happen in June when the governor says that we're supposed to open up to 100% and we are no longer in an emergency? Does that mean the vaccine goes away because it's only been approved for emergency use only? I do not believe that will happen. This is a complete sham. They are trying to force everybody to get into line for a vaccine so that we can all be a part of society again. Every place that is demanding a mask will be demanding a vaccine. This is unconstitutional. It's a violation of the Nuremberg Code. I pray for all of your souls because you are in violation of the United States Constitution, and you should all be tried.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your input. Thank you for your call. Your minute's over. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Roman Drake. Roman, you are live with council.
Good evening. Welcome.
Hi. So yeah, can I just go ahead and speak or?
Yes, please go right ahead, sir. You have a minute.
Okay, yeah, I just feel like everything that's going on with Tin Horn Flats it's incredibly sad that we look to our leaders to protect us, and they've taken this virus they're supposed to be protecting us from, and they're closing down businesses, and I just don't feel like you are protecting the community. I think this is harming the community. And I feel like a lot of people in a certain political party want to push their ideas on us and what they believe this virus is, when many people at the Tin Horn Flats, the owner, the people that congregate there, that spend money there, we don't have that experience. So if your science, if you people believe in science, then your science is wrong, and it's pretty bad science. I think.
Sir, thank you for your call, sir. Thank you for your input. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Miles Tomke. Miles, you are live with council.
Good evening and welcome.
Hi, I'm a lifelong Burbank resident. I live about 3 blocks away from Tin Horn Flats. I hear a lot of people complaining that this is a constitutional issue. It certainly isn't. It's a public health issue. We in the community, in the Magnolia area, have done quite a bit to support local businesses, restaurants, coffee shops, whatever it may be. During the pandemic, my family and I, we eat out in our neighborhood 2 to 3 times a week. Tin Horn, for the most part, was just an awful bar and restaurant. We hardly ever ate there because the food was bad and the drinks were even worse. This isn't some type of thing where the city has shut down their business. They've gone out of business because they couldn't adapt to the pandemic like so many other eateries in the neighborhood. Also, this has become some type of political flashpoint with alt-right activists screaming at people with megaphones on the sidewalk, maskless revelers, in the hundreds. They somehow exported the public health crisis that they started onto the streets. It's beyond dangerous. And
Sir,
really
thank you for your call, sir. Thank you. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Patricia Hildebrand. Patricia, you are live with council.
Good evening. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Please open Tin Horn Flats. The lockdowns are illegal, against the Constitution. Tin Horn churches should all be open because strip clubs, casinos, big corporations are open. People are committing suicide up in the mountains for depression. Ask anyone who goes up there to the mountains. It happens every weekend. They know, they see. We're all suffering. We need to end this lockdown. Let there be a debate on the mask. They don't work. People still get sick after vaccination. Other countries are using other meds to get rid of it. I'll say a prayer now. God, the ancestors, pilgrims came here for freedom. Freedom, please don't let them take it away from us. God, forgive us for our sins, turn from our wicked ways. Help us with a revival. Open Tin Horn and all small businesses. Don't let us lose our middle class. Don't let government ruin us, our democracy. Please, people kill themselves to get into this country. Help us keep our freedoms in this land of the free and home of the brave. In Jesus' name, thank you.
Thank you for your call, ma'am. Thank you for your thoughts. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Angie Chang. Angie, you're live with council.
Hi, good evening. Welcome.
Hi, I'm part of the social dystopia, one half. How does it feel? How does it feel to be the puppet, only held by a certain thread of silk? Truth becomes so delicate, predictive, fair enough, when it no longer requires speech or free will. How does it feel to be a rock, only weld to plateau amicably, absorbing nothing, stealing nothing, but pressuring the stone commonwealth mounted flatly from the underneath. How does it feel to be so epic that you can't even tell, like the allegory of cavemen stringing along phantom fantasies as they walk through the high beam society, so lifelike, so high, almost without a care? What atmosphere? Where? When it disappears so incongruously into nowhere? How does it feel to muffle in silence, to silence in violence, when chaos turns through the embassy?
Ma'am,
in
thank you
drunken
for your
waves like
thoughts.
Tennessee?
Thank you for your call. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Aston Jillian. Aston, you're live with council.
Good evening.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm calling as a Burbank resident of 8 years. We need to leave Tin Horn Flats alone. If you look at Florida, they've been open for months, and their numbers are better than ours. They're in the single digits now for COVID deaths in Florida. This leads me to believe, since they're open, that all these locking down of restaurants is not about public safety. It's about power. And you guys will be out of power as quick as you turned off Tin Horns, because if you cared about the community, you might care a little bit about your oldest bar in Burbank. Apparently not. These are your rules. We are pro-small businesses. We say no to the complete removal of a hard-working Burbank resident's personal property. We demand you remove the fines and fees and let them have their restaurant back. I hope you remember the lawsuit that Harvest Rock Church won at the Supreme Court right next door in Pasadena. You guys are next. You're obviously not fit to hold office at this time.
Thank you for your call. Thank you for your thoughts. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Lori. Lori, you're live with council.
Good evening. Welcome.
Hi, thank you, and thanks for taking my call. I'm overwhelmingly in support of small businesses. I've seen firsthand the hardships, so I'm aware. Yet when COVID began and it was clear that the potentially deadly virus could be minimized through simple masks and social distancing, I immediately followed through for the safety of my community. As it turns out, it has been proven again and again how the spread could be minimized. Not 100%, but we do have the power to curb the spread and the death rate. I can't believe Tin Horn Flats' defiance, not only of that mandate to close indoor-outdoor dining, but their blatant disregard for the safety of those around them. Seeing how much support they have garnered over the past months and knowing that takeout could continue, I have no doubt they would have survived the pause in in-person dining with some creative takeout packages, drinks, donations, GoFundMe, not to mention their loan. They didn't do that. They took a chance and it failed, causing potentially other small businesses to remain shut longer, putting even more at risk. They say there have been no cases, and that's great, but it's clear that people become infected unknowingly, and this crowd surely went shopping, saw friends, etc., so there's no way of knowing how many people.
Thank you for your call. Thank you for your input. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Marcelo Lopez. Marcelo, you're live with council.
Yes, hi. Thank you for taking my call, you guys. I'll make it quick, but I don't live in Burbank. I do work in Burbank. I repair roofs. And throughout the pandemic, you know, we go out, repair a lot of people's homes, and then we are caught up at lunchtime with nowhere to go, you know. There was no place to wash your hands properly or sit down to eat. And it was very depressing for us, very sad. And, you know, and I found this place, Tin Horn Flats, where I was able to actually come in, wash my hands, sit down, eat. And I think when you guys were putting all these laws in place, you didn't think about first responders or people that are actually in the streets working that need a place to sit and wash their hands and kind of regroup. And, you know, Lucas there, you know, would come to the table and ask how you were and kind of make you feel like there was some hope out there.
Sure.
And
Thank you for
and
your
I think
call.
you guys
Thank you
forget
for your
about all this.
input. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Carolyn Feldman. Carolyn, you're live with council.
Good evening. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm calling in regards to the Tin Horn. I really feel that it is unlawful to close Tin Horn Flats from operating their business, and I feel that it's unconstitutional to close their doors based on no evidence, especially now since all the other restaurants are open. There's no evidence that they are jeopardizing public health. And, I mean, I feel that we have a constitutional right in this country to earn a living, to wear what we want to wear, and eat where we want. And this pandemic has been like a loophole for tyranny and totally against the law of our land. And therefore, I feel the city of Burbank, in maintaining its harassment of the Tin Horn, is in violation of the Constitution, our fundamental human rights, and democracy altogether, since we never voted for any of this.
Ma'am, thank you for your input. Thank you for your call. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Megan. Megan, you're live with council.
Good evening. Welcome.
Hi, thanks. I am a Burbank resident, and I do not support you making an example out of Tin Horn Flats. I've been regularly going long before this mess began. I've listened closely to the cries of my fellow quote-unquote Burbank residents, and I'd like to address the fear from the opposition and the emotions being confused with real facts. There are people upset that the support's coming from outside Burbank, but they're spreading lies, and I challenge their knowledge of the situation. Number one, the alleged shocking obscenities being yelled at by Tin Horn supporters are support small business and save Tin Horn Flats. If anything happens otherwise, the supporters do not allow it and stop it immediately. Number two, the Burbank PD is there to keep the peace. The only times the peace has been disrupted is when Tin Horn opponents purposely disrupt an otherwise peaceful rally. There are no apartments next to Tin Horn Flats, so maybe that one tearful caller afraid to leave her apartment because, quote, they've been protesting on my street should get her facts straight before smearing a business. But I get it. Why not tell a little white lie for the right cause? But snitching has a shameful history, like when the Nazis encouraged Germans to turn on anyone who spoke against the party, its leaders, or the government. Every tyrannical government started because they were doing it in the name of a great cause. But we need to follow the science, and the science is that Tin Horn has not spread COVID or put anyone's lives in danger through COVID. No one has gotten sick, and no one is forced to go into Tin Horn Flats. You must not forget that. This is the point, is safety, and they have been strictly following the rules because the only reason that they haven't, you think they haven't, is because you shut off their power. Give them their power, they're going to operate their business like everyone else
Thank you for your call, ma'am. Thank you for your input. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Louise Solomon. Louise, you're live with council.
Good
Thank
evening.
you, Mr.
Welcome.
Constantine et al. Since we last spoke, you have put up a fence around Tin Horn Flats. You have defied constitutional law, and we, the people, will be dealing with you. We are a constitutional republic, and the Constitution will be dealing with you. The patriots are rising up, and the only bars you will be looking at will be the bars inside of a cell all around you for what you've all done to a small business that they own the property, and you have not even given them an easement to get into their property. You have not even given them time to fix any of these issues, and you have acted like a king, like a dictatorship. You are not an emperor, you are not a king, you are a civil servant, and the way we're going to be doing this is from now on, when we say jump, you're going to have to high. It is over for all of you on the city council in Burbank for what you have done.
Thank you for your call, ma'am. Thank you for your thoughts. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Nicole Mann. Nicole, you are live with council.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. I just wanted to say I have been a resident for 13 years in Burbank, and I am just disgusted by how the city council has been acting in an vindictive way. You guys are absolutely taking it personal. Mr. Anthony, you in particular, we need to stop worrying about Tin Horn Flats. You guys need to get the kids back in school. You spent more time and effort trying to close down a business than putting our kids back in school. This is 100% political and is completely led by Mr. Constantine Anthony. How a proud socialist was elected to this city council is beyond me. Sharon Springer, if you could act like you're paying attention, that would be nice. You've been on your phone all the time. Last week it was the same thing. Also, remember, any mic should be considered hot. We can hear the sighs and the sounds. Last week, Attorney Albano was heard saying, "Oh my God."
Thank you for your thoughts. Next caller, please.
Our next caller is Milan. Milan, you are live with council.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, with dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long...
Thank you for your call, ma'am. Thank you for your input. Next caller, please.
Mr. Mayor, I think this should be our last one. We're at 20, just about at 20 minutes.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, you're aware of that? That this should be our last caller?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and we'll notify staff.
Thank you. Bring on the last caller, please.
Our last caller is Jane Taguchi. Jane, you are live with council.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Lucas Filippigian and his family are being targeted and persecuted by a power-hungry government. This seems to be unconstitutional torment. This is an attempt to set an example to pressure against any other business who might want to fight for their rights as well. The pandemic has been over for a long time, ever since summer 2020, when LA County opened up from the lockdown. Yet the county health department has unlawfully used its power to try to control commerce. Our governor has done the same. Laws have not even been legislated, yet government is using the health mandates as if they are law and they are not laws. How can people survive and pay their bills and employ others so they too can support their lives while this is no longer a health emergency? Tin Horn Flats is a long-standing, well-known business in Burbank. The authorities are intent on destroying this business unjustly because Tin Horn Flats has decided to fight rather than let their freedoms and rights be violated. This is not a constitutional or democratic society anymore. This is shameful. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. I now declare the public comment period closed. We will now proceed to an online closed session meeting. We will convene the council meeting at 6 p.m. and the public is invited to view the meeting online or by television and will be able to provide public comment by calling in directly to the council meeting at 818-238-3335. Again, that phone number to call in directly to the council for the regular council meeting at 6 p.m. this evening is 818-238-3335. The televised portion of the closed session meeting is now over.